Okay, looks like we're good now. Um, okay, so we've been focusing a lot on others. We want to shift to, or sorry, we've been focusing a lot on ourselves and self-care. We want to focus a little bit more on other people and what we can do for other people. And as I was saying, there's some really cool research out there that suggests that when we do things for others, it lifts us up as well. And there are so many positive benefits to it that I thought it was something that we wanted to. All right, so I have a few just kind of little quotes throughout here. The first one is from Morgan Freeman, and it's, "How do we change the world? And it's one random act of kindness at a time." And I got a few different quotes from the Random Acts of Kindness website, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I have the website a little bit later in the presentation. You can kind of see, if you explore that site, you can see a lot more really inspiring things that they have, ideas that they have. So when we talk about doing things for other people that lift us up, we aren't talking about doing anything that becomes overwhelming or stressful to us. That's not the goal. So we're not talking about, for example, caregiving or our roles as a parent, or anything like that. We're talking about, we are talking about small things that you can do, little gestures that you can do or say that make someone's day a little better. So what I thought we could do first is just have you guys tell me what is something that someone has said or done that has brightened your day recently. So what things have happened that have been just sort of uplifting to you? Can you guys think of anything? I can tell you that while you guys are thinking, I have had some people send me messages just acknowledging that they're glad that we're offering these sessions, that they're finding them to be kind of a nice little break and something kind of positive to think about during their day. And so that's been really uplifting to me because it makes me feel like, okay, people are enjoying this. Okay, so we have somebody left a candy bar on your desk, and you got to see someone after a month of not seeing them, and someone made some cute dishcloths for me and left them on my desk. So we have like little gestures, little tokens. Anybody else have any other things? Just smiling as you walk by. Sometimes that is just huge. It just can be really uplifting. So yep, absolutely. Has anybody ever gotten compliments from strangers? They might say like, "Oh, I really like your hair," or "I really like your outfit," or "Where'd you get those shoes?" Things like that. So just like little things like that can just be really uplifting, and they don't take any energy or effort. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. So what I have next is a little video that really, I think, really explains the science of kindness really well. And again, this is from the Random Acts of Kindness website. So I'll go ahead and play this, and then we'll talk about
it. Sometimes it's easy to feel like the world's getting harder. But if we look closer, on the news, on the web, on the street, we're anything but unkind. Every day, we hear new stories of people trying to make the world a better place. And together, we can make the world that little bit kinder for all of us. It all starts with just one person, you. The thing about kindness is that it's just about the only thing in the world that doubles when you share it. And it's a fact, backed by science. Studies have shown that if you perform just one random act of kindness a day, you'll not only reduce your stress, anxiety, and depression, but your body is flooded with the same hormones that make you and the person you've helped calmer, healthier, and happier.
Sorry about that.
Serotonin, which heals your wounds, helps you relax and makes you feel good. Endorphins, which reduce pain. And oxytocin, which reduces blood pressure and makes you feel more loving and loved. You'll both be more energized, feel less aches and pains, more confident, and could even live longer. And if other people see you helping someone else, they'll be filled with those same feel-good hormones, meaning they're significantly more likely to pay it forward. Like taking that extra moment to hold the elevator for someone, spotting a coffee for a stranger who's just a few cents short, giving your neighbor a hand with their groceries, even just smiling and meaning it. It doesn't take much, but it can make a huge difference for everyone. Those people you've helped will help other people, and those other people will help even more people. And those random acts of kindness can start a chain reaction that can spread across an entire community, a city, a country, and with enough of us, the world. Now, isn't that the world we all want? And it all starts with one.
Okay, so there was a lot in that video, a lot of science, and so I know it went really fast for me the first time I watched it. So we're going to break some of that down a little bit more and go through some of these a little bit more closely. Oops. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to mention is that there's kind of a connection between gratitude and kindness. So there's kind of a cycle. So the way I think about it, and I know different people have different ideas about what gratitude is, there's this idea that gratitude is just a general trait that people can have, that they're just, you know, positive and appreciate the world around them. So there's that view. But in this presentation, I'm kind of talking about gratitude as a response to someone's kindness. So if someone does something for you, and a gesture, you know, anything, and you feel in return a sense of gratitude for that. And that makes you more likely to respond with doing kindness to others. So that's kind of this cycle that we're talking about here. And what we know from research, so we're not just making this up, is that kindness and gratitude are associated with well-being, health, and longevity. And so again, I'll be breaking this down a little bit more, the research, but there is a lot of research behind this, which is why I'm talking about it, because I think it is something that we should all really be aware of. Okay, so what do we mean by kindness? And we kind of talked about this, but it can be something as simple as smiling at a stranger. It could be giving someone something that they need, or a small token to show that you're thinking of them. It can be providing them emotional or social support. It could be like, you know, asking them if they're okay and then listening, and when they need to talk. And there can be so many other things. So kindness, just there's this huge range of, you know, anything from just a smile to a, oh, okay, thank you. Black boxes. Okay, that must be in the, tell me if this helps. Oops. Okay, cool. All right. So what do all these things have in common? They all have in common that we're letting someone know that we're thinking about them, that you care about them, and that they matter. And at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest things we can do for other people, is just showing them that they matter. They matter to somebody in the world. That helps them feel less lonely, less isolated, and in doing that, we're going to feel better about ourselves. So here's another little quote. Unexpected kindness is the most powerful, least costly, and most underrated agent of human change. So I thought that was a good one. All right, so why be kind to others? Some of the research tells us that it actually does predict, when we think a lot about the importance of social support and receiving support from others, but there's research that shows that people are actually more likely to live longer when they helped others. So that's really interesting. If they provided social support to others, or emotional support to others, or just did, you know, any sort of helping behavior for someone else, it was actually predictive of living longer. So that's something that was really surprising to me. It also gives us a sense of purpose. The person that's doing the kind act, it's giving them a sense of purpose and meaning. That's something that obviously is really key to our overall well-being. one of the other really nice things about it is it forms bonds and friendships with others. So, somebody might do a nice thing for you. Let's say one of your coworkers, one of those things that you guys mentioned, they give something to you. They put a little surprise or a little thing on your desk. And obviously then you have a nice feeling about that person because they went out of their way to do something for you. So what that does is creates this nice bond between you and that other person, and it helps reinforce that. So there's a lot of research and theories that suggest that when we are kind, and that produces that sense of gratitude in a person, that cycle between those two people is what helps continue their friendship and their relationship. So it also activates the reward center of the brain, and this one is really interesting. So the it's actually when somebody feels supported, socially supported, it activates the same brain reward responses as food or money. So that one is really interesting. And then the other one is that when we feel understood, so when somebody takes their time to talk to you and ask questions and learn more about you, it is actually activating that same reward system in the brain. So it is, that's a really interesting finding that I really had no idea about, but just thinking about it, I mean, it makes sense. It's like, why do we want to be around other people? It makes us feel good when people are asking us questions about ourselves. They want to learn more. They're showing like, I care about you, you matter. So again, those types of things are what are going to create the effect in the brain. And then the other part of that is that it's been shown to increase our levels of oxytocin, which if you guys are familiar with that chemical in the body, it's connected to bonding, especially like there's a high level of it with mothers and children, mothers and babies. So when more oxytocin is produced in the body, it helps promote the bonding experience. Okay, so here's another quote. Carry out a random act of kindness with no expectation of reward, safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you. And this was a quote by Princess Diana. So that's kind of nice. So when we do something nice for somebody, we don't necessarily do it because we want them to do something for us in return. However, we do know that people are then more likely to do something for you later. So in that regard, it's really kind of a win-win situation. So when you do something for someone else, you feel grateful. You feel good about yourself because you took action, you did something. The person that helped you is either going to return the favor to you, or they're more likely to pay it forward. So they do something for somebody else that's unexpected. So that's also another sort of interesting way that it works. All right. So there's another theory that's related to having an upward spiral of positivity, and I think this is really cool. So the idea here is that as these things continue, it just continues in your well-being, in your brain, your mental well-being and mental health, because you're basically just sort of reinforcing, rewarding. The brain is affected. So it's just sort of this continuous cycle of making you feel good. As you do acts of kindness, people feel gratitude. They share their appreciation and gratitude back with you. And it just sort of has this really positive cycle that continues. And so they call it this upward spiral of positivity, which I think is a really nice visual effect. Just kind of, you can kind of just keep going and going and going. And as things move forward. Okay, here's another interesting little research tidbit that I found. So some research showed that when you are aware of your kindness toward others and you keep a daily tally of the acts that you do, it's been shown to increase your positivity. When a lot of people are just, you're doing your random acts throughout the days, that's great. But the research showed that when you kind of take a day that you set, maybe it's one day a week, maybe it's one day a month, something like that, when you up your kindness game, so you really focus on, I'm going to do, more acts of kindness on this day, then it actually has more of a positive effect on you. So spreading them out is great, but then when you concentrate them on top of that, on a particular day, it's been shown to be even more effective for you in terms of making you feel good. All right. So another concept here is that kindness can start with one small act, but it can create a really big ripple effect. So if you remember in the video, it talked about when people observe acts of kindness, that they also feel that same a positive, warm reaction. And so research has shown that they're likely to want to get on the action because they're inspired of what they just witnessed. And so that's really a cool thing. And I don't know if you guys remember, there have been some PSAs and commercials where they show individuals who are watching, somebody do something nice for somebody else, and then, oh, I should, just plants that seed. And I think the video did a really good job of kind of showing how that happens, and the idea that, it's a domino effect. And as we go out and do these things, we're inspiring others. We have no idea who we've inspired because they're not we've left the scene, but now maybe they're going to help somebody, hold the door for them. They're going to just smile more at people, whatever the case may be. So it is something that it can really start small but really end up having a really big effect. And it's really, really can be contagious. So the positive effects, as I mentioned, can be experienced by everyone who witnessed the act. It improves their mood and then makes them significantly more likely to pay it forward. So it's just a really positive thing. And another interesting research tidbit is that there were some researchers, they did a study that showed when a manager gave a speech to a group of workers in a call center, they made 50% more calls. So that was their task that they were working on, doing fundraising. So they actually made 50% more calls on the day when the manager gave them a speech thanking them and acknowledging the work that they had done. So compared to when they on a normal day when the manager didn't do that. So it's, if you are a manager, or you do have, or even with your coworkers, if you don't, you just work with others, just that acknowledging and thanking people for what they're doing can really have an impact in the workplace. And so I think that's something that we should all keep in mind as we work through especially stressful times when people kind of need all the uplifting messages and encouragement that we can get right now. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit here to gratitude. So as I mentioned earlier, gratitude is our response to kindness. That's how I'm kind of conceptualizing it here. When we express it, there's many benefits. So some of these, and again, these are all based from research, is that we can have a positive mindset. It reduces our stress levels. Our mental healthiness and mental well-being is improved. We're at lower risk for psychiatric disorders. I'll give you an example of that one. So there's some research that shows, and this is sort of related to like helping and kindness, but also just providing social support. But there's research that shows when someone who is in recovery from a substance use disorder serves in a helping role for someone else who is in recovery, that they're more likely to be successful in their recovery. So so that just the effect of being there and being supportive helps reinforce that and makes them feel good. It gives them a sense of purpose. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that's connected to all of this is helping people feel connected, helping people feel noticed, helping people feel like they matter. And then for the person that's doing the act, especially when they're in a stressful situation themselves, it can be very healing to people when they do these acts, because it can be so uplifting, like I talked about, that upward spiral. So a lot of times we think when we're overwhelmed, we think, well, how can I possibly do anything for anybody else? I need to take care of myself. And generally speaking, that is true. But I will tell you from my own experience with some of the experiences that I've had recently, being able to give back. I was able to work at a giving food to at a senior center in Salt Lake County, and that just was so uplifting to me. Like I felt so good the rest of the day. I left there just, and they call it a helping high. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but after you do that, it's just has this reaction, and I think it goes back to that brain reaction where you feel like I did something, I accomplished something. You feel good about yourself, and I really did find it to be energizing, as opposed to like, oh, I have to go give food to people and I'm going to go stand there out in the hot sun. It was more just like it was just such a positive experience. So I think that these things all kind of make sense. The gratitude and helping and social support that we're providing, they're all kind of related to these positive outcomes. The higher life satisfaction, you're going to feel good about yourself because you're doing things, and wisdom. So you're having some life experience, and that generates wisdom for you, and helping you kind of really connect to what you think and what you find to be really important in your life, and your experience with others. All right, so we're moving on to the portion here where I want to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear what your ideas are for what you can do for your friends, family, and neighbors. So what are some acts of kindness that you think you can, so acts of kindness or expressions of gratitude. So again, I think we're just kind of brainstorming things here, and then I'll give you some of the ideas that I had. So if you guys could put some of your thoughts in the chat box, that'd be great. So friends, family, and neighbors. And we're gonna go through this category, and then we're gonna go through strangers, so people we don't know, and then we're gonna go through our coworkers. So so we're starting with friends, family, and neighbors. Okay. All right. So we have taking neighbors' homegrown vegetables. I like to do that also. Oh, bring in their garbage cans. That's really nice. Take dinner to a family that have kids when the parents work full time. That's awesome. Goodie bags. That sounds awesome. Offering to babysit. Very good. These may be things that you have done, or just ideas. So they may not be things that you've done yet, but things that you just, we're just trying to help each other think of those little things that we can do just to, help, again, make somebody's day. What can we do? So I really like these things. They're really, a lot of them are really small things. Taking vegetables from your garden, bringing in their garbage can. If you're already out and you're dealing with your garbage can, you can just grab theirs. I know I've had neighbor, when I first moved here, I had my neighbor didn't think that I had a snowblower. So sure enough, my neighbor, the first time it snowed, he was out there. He blew all the snow off my driveway. It was the nicest thing. And it was just really nice. And so it's, something like that, or like, removing the snow from your sidewalks, things like that. It's like, you're going to do that anyway. You're out there with your snowblower, and they haven't come out there. How nice would it be for your neighbor to come out and be like, oh my gosh, I don't have to do this now, because they were dreading it, and now it's already done. Take a moment to say hi and chat when you see them outside. So again, that meets that need of helping people feel connected. And especially now, so many people are just in their house, they're hanging out, they're not really interacting very much. So, you can socially distance right now, and on your driveway, if you see your neighbor out there, say hi. I think that's a great thing. It just helps that sense of community and helps people feel connected, like they matter, like you see them, not like they're invisible. Um, any other ideas that anybody have? How about for your family members? What are some things that you can do? Seems like we did really well on neighbors. What are some things that we could do for our family that are just kind of nice things that we might be able to do? Run an errand for them. Okay, that's a good one. So like, you're going to the store, you can call somebody and say, hey, I'm going to the store, can I get something for you? Because you're already going. And again, we're trying to limit how much we're out doing things, right? So that's a great idea. Anybody else have any ideas for what you can do for family or friends? Take them a meal if they aren't feeling well. Oh, that's nice. Send a text saying that you're thinking of them and hope they're having a good day. How much can that? I just heard from somebody yesterday. I sent him a text. He was going on a trip, and I said, I hope you have a good time. And that was just really nice because it was like I showed that I remembered that he was going on the trip, and um, it just showed that I was thinking of him, and that really can be a nice gesture that just makes somebody smile. um, Keep in touch with them, letting them know you're thinking of them. So I think those are great, great things. Again, helping us stay connected, helping people feel like they matter, like you care. So, all right. So I'm going to give you some of my ideas. Thank you guys for your thoughts on that. Okay. So some of the ideas that I had are getting to know them better. Ask them about themselves. Ask them where they're from. Okay, take them to a doctor's appointment. That's a good one, yeah, because that one is a lot of times people need that. Um, so asking people questions about themselves so you can learn more about them makes them feel like you care again. This might be even a family member that you don't see very often or don't get to know, don't know very well. Ask them to tell you what's going on. If someone does something you like, tell them. Don't be shy about it. And or thank them for it, obviously. Um, Give them a small token of appreciation that lets them know you are thinking of them. Or I know somebody did this for me one time, and I just thought it was the nicest thing. Somebody gave me it was just a little thing that they got on a trip that they went on, but it was just this idea of like, this made me think of you. I saw this at a store and it made me think of you. And that was just really touching to me because it was like, wow, you were, you were on your own trip vacation, and you saw something that reminded you of me, and wanted to give that to me. So it was just a really touching thing. So telling them why when there's meaning behind it. um, when you find things that you don't need anymore, trying to find someone who can use them, like, hey, I have this, whatever it is. Could you use this? Obviously, we could do for strangers if we donate it to, the Goodwill or the DI, something like that. We can, give things that's a way to give an act of kindness because we're giving something we don't need to somebody who needs it and they can get it at a really inexpensive price. But another idea is just to ask people. I know I have a friend who does this all the time on Facebook. So she'll say, "Does anybody need a whatever?" And then let the people that she knows in her network say, "Oh yeah, I do." Send a care package. So this one is always nice, especially when you can't see somebody. Send them something that that they like, some treats that they like, or something that they can't get where they are, something from home if there's somebody that moved away. um, so care packages, obviously, all people like to receive care packages. A handwritten letter or postcard, this is one that we don't do very often because now everything's email and text, but sending a handwritten letter or postcard can really be meaningful to people. And then the last one I had was donate to a cause in their name. So a lot of times we do this to commemorate something. It could be in memorial to someone, or to an event, or to something that happened. But just that something that that person cares about. Donating to a cause in their name, can be just a really uplifting thing, just to make somebody feel good. Um, okay, and then we also had text them and offer to babysit. And then, babysit packages that arrive. Oh yeah, that's a really good one. Helping your neighbors when they're out of town or traveling. I had to ask my neighbor to help me. It's just super great to have somebody that I can that I can do that. And then I gave her vegetables from my garden, as a token of my appreciation. So that's a really nice thing to be able to do. All right, so moving on. Let's think about, okay, here's another little quote for you guys. Kindness is our very own pixie fairy dust. It gives people the ability to soar, not just fly. And this ractivist, that's the random act of kindness activist. That's kind of how they refer to the people that are into doing the random acts of kindness. And so these are quotes by those individuals. And this is, I liked this one just because you know, you think of yourself as like, you know, when you do kindness and you're putting that out into the world, it is kind of like sprinkling fairy dust. You know, like I just sprinkled some fairy dust on my coworker's desk because I gave them a, you know, a candy bar, or you know, I gave my neighbor you know, some of my vegetables. So it's like sprinkling fairy dust everywhere, and it's just kind of like a really kind of cool way to think about it, that that's your way of kind of creating you know, these warm, fuzzy feelings around to people. All right, so let's move on to strangers. So let's talk about what we can do for strangers to acts of kindness for people that we don't know. What are your ideas for that? Okay, smile and open the door to a store. That's very nice. Say hi and greet them. Um, Paying for the car behind you in the drive-through. That's really nice. That would be like, I mean, that would be, can you imagine if somebody did that to you? Like, how good would you feel? And what are you likely to do? You're likely to go and do something nice for somebody else because, you know, that's the whole pay it forward thing. Um, so let them in front of you in the checkout line. Oh, that's really nice. So yeah, you have a lot of things. They have two things. They have kids. You know, you're just not in a hurry, and they look like they're in a hurry and they have their hands full. Let them in front of you. That's just a really nice gesture you can do. Any other ideas you guys have for strangers? What we can do for strangers in our day-to-day life? Well, okay, let me ask this question. What would you want strangers to do for you? Like, what would make you smile and make your day if people did for you? Put the card away for them. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Let's say you're putting yours away, so you grab theirs. What do you guys wish that other people would do for you? Like just strangers. What would make you smile if somebody did for you out there? In your just, you know, in your day-to-day, you know, activities. What would make you smile if somebody did something for you? Okay, all the things above. Okay. Anybody else have any other ideas for what are things we could do? No? All right. I'll give you my ideas. Okay. So you guys got the smile and say hello. So obviously that's really important. Okay, I like that. Acknowledging you exist. So thank you. So I've been kind of repeating that one. So that one really is kind of important. It is acknowledging that people are there, that they're not invisible. That really does make a difference to people. I mean, it sounds kind of odd, but it really is important. So smiling, saying hello, saying hi, you know, those kinds of things, it helps people feel like you see them, that they're not invisible. Okay, so here's one that's sort of interesting. Tell a parent how well behaved their kids are. So, you know, you're just noticing and complimenting them. That's just like, oh, wow, thank you. You know, how nice would that be to hear? Give compliments when you notice something about someone. So you might tell them, you know, nice outfit, nice shoes, or I like your hairstyle. I've had people do that to me in the grocery store. You know, I'm walking down the aisle and, you know, somebody just notices something and it's like, you know, that's really nice. They didn't have to say that and they did. And it just makes you feel good. So, you know, we can do that to other people. And, you know, I've noticed since I've lived here in Utah that people aren't really shy about talking to people they don't know, especially if they're saying nice things. So I don't think people are going to think you're too weird if you do give compliments to people. It just makes you it's kind of contagious. Being nice to drivers. So this one is, you know, when you're driving, when they need to get over, it's being mindful of like, oh, I'm in their lane and they need to merge over, or oh, this person needs to get out of the parking lot and you know I can let them out so that they can get out. So those were some of the ideas that I had for what we could do for strangers. Did this prompt anybody else to have any other ideas? Any other thoughts before we move on? Okay. All right. Okay. I love giving a quarter to a well-behaved child in a store and telling them only when the parents are right there that I've caught them being good. I love that. That's awesome. So that caught you being good concept, I think, is so nice. Anytime we can reinforce, positive stuff and that we see people doing, whether it be a person that we, like, thank you for, you know, putting my card away. Thank you for, whatever it is, just acknowledging it. It's like, and telling them, hey, that made my day. You just made my day. That feels good when we hear that, when we do things. And so that makes us more likely to want to continue doing those kinds of things. Obviously not for the same person, but, it's all contagious, as we've been talking about. So, all right, very good. All right, so next we're going to talk. Oh, I have another quote for you guys. Kindness is being someone who makes everyone feel like a somebody. Okay, so this is kind of the same concept that I've been talking about, but it really is key. And so, I thought that was nice. Okay. All right, so next we're at coworkers and colleagues. So I'd like to hear your ideas on what we can do for our coworkers and colleagues as acts of kindness or gratitude to show our appreciation for things that they've done. What are our thoughts on this? And I know some of you talked about some of the things already, the little gifts or presents that people have left on your desk. But these are things that you haven't done that you could do. So you're brainstorming new ideas, new things you could do. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Thank you cards. So handwritten would be really nice, right? A handwritten thank you card. Um, always offer to pick something up for lunch. That one's really nice. So if you're going out anyway, might as well offer, right? Offer to help with a project or something they're working on. So, or a task, that when they have a lot of work to do. So being that sort of that support for them. Um, Again, it's noticing what's going on with them and then seeing what you can do to pitch in. That's gonna just, it's gonna relieve stress from them and it's gonna make you feel good as long as it's not too overwhelming. So remember, that's kind of the key, is you're not trying to take so much on that you're overwhelming yourself. So that's kind of where we have to find that balance, because when we get over that threshold, then we're doing more harm than we are good in terms of helping ourselves. So completing your responsibilities early, when you process is upstream from theirs. Okay, so getting your things done so that they can get their things done. I get it. Okay, very good. All right, I'm going to give you some of mine. So again, smile and say hello. It's always nice to acknowledge our coworkers and let them know again that they exist and that they're not invisible. And then keep note cards at your desk and write actual notes instead of sending an email. It's always, we do emails and texts, like I said. So, getting that handwritten note just shows that you took the time out of your day to do that for them. When you have new people in your office, introducing yourself to them, seeing if you can take them out to lunch, especially, when they're first starting, just to make them feel welcome. Like, what can you do to, help people feel as, part of the team quicker? This one is kind of an interesting challenge. Try having a day where you only say nice things to others at work. So you can't complain, you can't say anything bad. It's one of those, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all kind of things. So just trying to be really positive about everything and, focusing on all the positives that day. Remember when someone has an important event coming up, if they're doing a presentation, they have a report, they have, whatever it is, Maybe it's a personal thing in their life that you know about. They have, something important. So wishing them luck and then asking them how it went afterward just shows that you care, again, that you're thinking of them, that you're aware. It's going to help with the connection that you have. Okay, and my last one is telling a joke. Okay. Now I have to give you some joke ideas, of course, because I gave you this idea. So now I'm going to give you some silly office jokes that you can use. Okay. In a minute. Okay. So just putting stickies, putting stickies on somebody's door, on their desk. Just acknowledging that, giving them an uplifting thing, whatever it is, and it it just really can be super uplifting to people. Another thing is on this Random Acts of Kindness website that I mentioned earlier, they have a calendar that you can download, and it actually has ideas for every day of the year. So I've put on here September, and each month has a theme, and this theme for September is integrity. That's the theme. And then on the right, you'll see that says team activity, be the change at work. And so it talks about, gives you team activities that you can talk about. And it says some things like making the community break room more appealing, and what can we do to do that. So it just gives ideas on the different things you can do. And so that may or may not be helpful to you, but again, that randomactsofkindness.org has some really fun ideas. So this is something you can use it with your team, or you can use it on your own just to give yourself ideas and kind of do a random acts of kindness challenge for yourself at work with your coworkers. Okay, so here's my corny office jokes, guys. Okay, so what do you call a fish with two knees? Okay, and of course it is a two-knee fish. Get it? A tuna fish. Okay. All right, so these are bad. All right, so here's my next one. My office is awesome. Lately, my colleagues have been writing names on the food in the office fridge. I'm currently eating a yogurt named Susan. Isn't that cute? Okay. There's also another really funny one about an individual who decides that she's going to get her boss to send her home for the day. She tells her coworker, and the coworker says, "How are you going to do that?" And she says, "Watch." So she decides she hangs upside down in the office and from the ceiling, and the boss comes in and she says, "Hey," he says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Well, I'm a light bulb." And the boss says, "Well, I think you're under too much stress. I think you need to go home." So then the other coworkers starts following her out, and he says, "Where are you going?" And he says, "Well, I can't work in the dark because the light bulb left," right? So, okay, so those are my silly jokes for you guys to use with your office, your coworkers. It's just kind of silly fun, look up some jokes and you can just kind of make people smile and make their day. All right, so my last quote for you is from Maya Angelou, and she says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." And I think that one is really a nice sort of concluding thought for us today. And I hope that, what we've kind of talked about, even though it was meant to be mostly uplifting, is that I hope that you've kind of gotten the message that it really is about, how we make other people feel in our day-to-day life. And it might seem like it's not a big deal to smile at somebody, but it honestly could make a huge difference for them in helping them feel like, hey, somebody noticed me, somebody cared to smile at me. All right, so with that, I am going to ask you guys, as I always do, to fill out my survey. So I'm going to put it in the chat box for you. And next week, we will be talking about the importance of, we'll kind of be on the same theme, and we'll be talking about volunteering and the benefits of volunteering. So it's sort of another type of, another way that we can give back and the benefits of that. So we'll be having another speaker that'll be talking about that. So Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you next week. Have a great weekend. And go do random acts of kindness, everyone.